Hey everybody! Hey, really important. If you can see and hear me, let me know because I have been having nothing but trouble with streaming software recently. So, very important. Basically, I'm just going to talk because there's like a delay between when I ask you for help and when you guys hear it. So yesterday I tried to do like a quick video live stream about the cool stuff we're going to talk about here in the news in a bit. And for some reason, all of my streaming software just like freaked the heck out. So we're trying. All good. Okay, sweet. Thank you all so much for joining me. Huge news today. I'm having a wonderful day. Got this all sorted out, it looks like. And that's a really rough way to say, hey, I'm Doug. Welcome to Reforging. This is a 2+ Tough show where once a week we kind of sit down, talk about some gaming news and things like that, as well as a special topic today. If you don't know, recently I put out a contest for lore entries, and we're going to do a bunch of those this year, but essentially the idea was, the theme, I should say, not the idea, the theme was Gur, Realm of Beasts, and so your short story had to take place there. And so today, I'm trying not to move my mic because the cord's falling apart. That was phase 2 of my hair on fire disaster. So what we're going to do today is announce the top 5 winners. And so all 5 of these stories are going to be, I'm going to do lore video style things for them. So that's really exciting. I like that. And the top 3, there are prizes, and I'll reach out to you, after this, and we'll coordinate getting those to you. It's all like digital stuff or stuff that I can send online. So there's not really a lot of shipping information. Basically, I just need an email. So anyway, what I will, let's see. Let me move my chat over here so I can see it. So I thought rather than burying the lead, because so many people have asked about it this week, let's just jump right into the lore contest winners. So there were 10, essentially how this worked. If you're new, I put out a lore contest. There was 46 entries total, and it took me about 3 weeks. I think it was about 3 weeks. I read through them all. And let me just make sure here. Read through them all and picked out 10, my favorite 10, and put them before my patrons on Patreon and members here on YouTube in the form of like the YouTube guys. It's a little bit weird because they don't really have quite the same poll features that Patreon does, but essentially people were kind enough to just list out in order how they voted. And so I tallied all those things together. And from those 10, we have these top 5. So let's go here. I have on my other screen here a set of names I'm not going to show because personal reasons. But I'm going to do the first name and the last initial. And then the story's name. Obviously, if you wrote it, you would recognize it. So in 5th place, we have, let's see, As Within by Alexander B. So Alexander, you have come in 5th place. That's a really good story, actually. Number 4. Okay, we have, let me find it here. A Fisherman's Tale. And that's one I cannot wait. I cannot freaking wait to do that video because as you're reading it, you can hear it in your head. And I'm going to put all these up on my website here in in the next day or two. But A Fisherman's Tale by Mart H. M-A-R-T is the first name, Mart H. So there's that. Let me put the chat over here so I can see. Let's see. Okay, number 3. So now we're into the firm price support. I believe 3rd place winner was a 1-year subscription to AOS Reminders, which is a wonderful site to help you keep track of your rules and help you learn your army a lot faster. So that one is... Now, I'm going to butcher this name, and I apologize. So the story is Ivory Port, and the winner is UWEM is the last initial. So Ivory Port came in third. And what do we got here? Next, number 2. Okay, number 2 is The Crowned Beast by Letsia C. So there you are, Letsia. That one I believe was it was basically a credit on Audible. So you wrote me a story. I gave you a book back. And the number one winner, coming out of nowhere, hot like a freaking comet, we have The Siege of Gargantfall by Rocco Ya Boy. And that, I used that name because, one, that's what his email says, but also that's what his handle name on Twitter is, so I felt like that's pretty public enough. So Siege of Gargantfall, that's going to be a Games Workshop gift certificate. Congrats to all the winners and support for the tech support. These were super cool. Yeah, thank you so much, Spezia. You're wonderful. I really do appreciate it, buddy. So I've reported about the Ossiarch Bone Reapers. Yes. So those are our 5 winners. So again, really quickly, as within A Fisherman's Tale, I report The Crowned Beast and Siege of Gargantfall. So yeah, congrats everybody. This isn't obviously how this show usually starts. I kind of just assumed that my fixing of technology is on borrowed time. So we're kind of just jumped right in there with the lore contest winners. But holy smokes, there's a lot to talk about, because this entire week that I have been unable to stream because reasons, I don't know, electronic reasons. Jack says, I proofread Rocco's story and provided feedback, so I get half the credit for the win. I don't think it works like that. I might have to talk to Rocco for that one. It might have been some fine print he didn't read in that contract. But wonderful. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to round out this segment here. I'm going to take these stories and all their Google links and stuff, and I'm going to throw them on my website, and I will make a YouTube post as well as social media posts directing people if they want to read the top 10, probably. I'll probably do the top 10. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so let me just get this stuff out of the way, make sure there's no personal names or anything on the screen. We got some news to talk about, friends, because turns out Games Workshop knows exactly when I'm having computer trouble and decides that's when we need to, dump all the coolest stuff. It's kind of like how everything came out for, what was the release that came out? There was some big release that came out when I was moving, and I was like, are you freaking kidding me? It was right before Broken Realms and Wrathy. So, here we go. I put these in order loosely of things that I'm excited to talk about, or things that interest me, rather, so it gets progressively more interesting to me. Of course, it's a personal opinion. So here we have The Evolution of Beastmen, which is an article that I thoroughly enjoyed. Just because it gives us a good look back in history. I'm just going to let it roll here slowly. And essentially it's just talking about what is the role narratively of the Beastmen army, or Beasts of Chaos. And I love this. Like, Beastmen have been a part of the Warhammer worlds since their inception. It was in the world that was. They were originally men twisted by the power of chaos. I read it for the articles. Exactly. Let's see. Rocco, your boy, you came in number 1, buddy, on the lore contest. Congrats. And we get to see these incredibly ancient Beastmen sculpts. I love it. It's a blast from the past. I feel like Beastmen used to have more, like, that's a bird wing on him. I feel like they used to have more things than just goats and stuff. So yeah. And we're scrolling down. We got our modern ones. Kind of brought them into the Children of Chaos. There's no real meat in this article. I just really, really like it. I like the pictures and stuff. Here are the Beastmen from 40k, because they are in 40k. Blackstone Fortress had them, I believe. And actually, this guy I have on my shelf. I love this freaking model so much. He looks so rad. He's a mercenary for Necromunda. And let's see, now what about those God-marked Beastmen? First mentioned in that seminal White Dwarf article, they took a long time to make to the tabletop, first arriving in the early 2000s in the form of rage-fueled corngores and decay-spreading pestigores. Pestigores are the best. I like the corn guy has his eyes covered. And basically they're just showing off their reimagining. So I do want them eventually to have Pestigors and Korngors, but obviously you have Zangors, and now we have the new Slaanesh one. This one's in the Underworlds box. So that's exciting, and here's the new unit that's coming out kind of in support. So anyway, check the article out. It's fun. Now the big news, if you have not seen it or you have not seen, I'm going to say, how do I want to word this? If you have not heard the shrill cry of ecstasy from 10,000 nerds all exploding at once with excitement, here is the Total War Warhammer 3 trailer. I'm not going to play it because I don't have the audio balance. I don't want to blow your eardrums out. But I will say, I've always wanted to see a bloodthirster get into a fight, and you get to see it, and it's rad. In fact, I think the strength of the Total War games to me is not just seeing units that you recognize, but seeing them in motion. I've said that a lot about the Doom Wheel. Absolutely fantastic trailer. And they're showing off some of the art. One of the things that I was introduced to this week that I did not know about, I think it was on the last live stream I did, was the idea of the Cathay, however we pronounce that. Basically, it's the Warhammer Old World China. You know, as far as where they land on in the Old World setting. These just white dudes talking? Yep, okay. Yes, and they also have Kislev? One of those. I don't know. I don't know enough about the Old World yet, but I'm here to learn. So, I'm excited about it. So, if you have not seen it, as one of those nerds that cried out, I resemble that, exactly. One thing that I wanted to talk more about, but I didn't get a chance to because nothing was working, was Bladeborn. Now, if you don't know, this article went up the same day as the Warhammer Total War 3 preview, but nobody was really talking about it because, I mean, for rightfully so, the Total War art video was just so stellar. But this is a very interesting product, okay? Now, I'm going to read it here, the description. We're going to dissect this a bit. A fast-paced and brutal game of clashing warbands for 2 players. Bladeborn sees Kagra's Ravagers face off against the God-sworn Hunt to earn a place in Archeon Everchosen's army. There should be a "the" there. His first name is not Archeon, last name Everchosen. But whatever. So it's interesting. So that makes it sound like this is a small, one-off boxed game with a few models, but there's a lot of weird stuff about it. Players will need to leverage the unique skills of their fighters to claim victory over their opponents using all the models, dice, and cards you can shake an especially pointy stick at. Best of all, if your friends love Bladeborn, it'll be a short hop, skip, and jump into the wonderful worlds of Warhammer Underworlds and Warcry. Those are 2 vastly different games. So I have a lot of thoughts on this. Let's get this picture up here. So we're looking at this board, okay? Actually, let's back up even there. The warbands included. If you don't know, both of these warbands, what is it? Kagra in the Godsworn Hunt. They are both Warhammer Underworlds warbands that are being brought into this game. Now, weird thing that I didn't even think about until someone brought it up in a different discussion, like one of my comments in a different post that I had, was this idea that they felt kind of not gypped, but they thought it was kind of crummy how Kagra's Revenge, the Slaves to Darkness warband, had just gone on pre-order. They just ordered it, and now this is released, which is you could have gotten this and another thing and a game for what is likely going to be a couple bucks more. So they just kind of felt a little jilted on that one. I was like, that's a really interesting point. Why are the Slaves to Darkness warband coming out so close, a week after their huge debut? So again, we don't really, as far as I know, I don't think there's an actual date for when these things get released, unless I just didn't see it. Okay, they're available later this year, so it's not quite like that, but it just kind of seemed like weird timing to be pre-order this thing, you want it, and then an article that's Hey, by the way, there's a better way to get that same set of models. Better value, more models in a game. So it was just an odd thing. But it makes more sense now that I know they're coming out later this year. Now, looking at that picture, we see a few strange things. One, it is a hex-based board, much like you would find. And the size seems comparable to Warhammer Underworlds. Really like it. Actually, if you had showed me this board with no models on it, I would be like, that is the most kick-ass Beastgrave board ever. Got the big old skull and stuff. I love it. So it's interesting because it is set up. There's even little like places that look like they could be objective markers, again, like Underworlds. But the second you look at literally anything else in this picture, it's not Underworlds at all. You have cards that have the same symbols and information as Warcry, same wound tokens, same dice, same... That's a mission card right there. Over here we have special abilities, like you would roll a triple or double for Warcry, all those things. So it's just very strange, but at the same time, there's your glory points for Underworld. So I don't know if they literally tried to like merge the games, and this is kind of what they got. If that's the case, I don't know. I'm so fascinated by this because they're such different games. And so, I don't know. I'm interested to know more about it. I would be kind of sad if they put this out there and didn't support it any further. Like, I don't want this to be like a Barnes & Noble one-off box. That would be a huge bummer to me. But it does open the possibility that now we can use Underworld's warbands in Warcry, which would be freaking stellar. Like, I don't even know how that would necessarily like work all the time, but I would absolutely love it. Maybe it could be like, if you take the Iron Jaws warband, for example, that guy, thank you so much for pitching in, buddy. I super appreciate it. I haven't gotten there yet. That's next on our list, I promise. Spoiler alert. No, I'm just kidding. So it's very interesting to me that like we could have that. So I would love it if it was set up to like, okay, you take, we'll just go with an example from here instead of Orcs. Kaghar's Revenge, the 4 Slaves to Darkness characters. Well, that's not enough points to be a full warband by itself. But what if when you picked your warband to do your campaign or quest or whatever, you got that, and Kaghar's Revenge costs a flat, 400 points, and now you have the remainder to buy normal Slaves to Darkness, but like you have to take all the models in that warband, and then from there it kind of defaults to like whatever faction it's trying to represent. I think that would be so cool. So let's see. I think that's it. Does anybody have any thoughts on this thing before I start moving along? It just seems like a really odd, very odd product. I don't know if they're just trying out different game formats or what. And then there's some different iterations. I feel like every year they put out a Space Marine Dungeon Explorer. And I don't recognize these two models, but I love them. What are they from? Let's see. Aimed at getting new players, and Fireteam just seems like, hey, did you want a couple of Necrons and 5 Space Marines? Here you go. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and end that discussion there. It's cool seeing the intercessors again. I see what you're saying. Yeah. The 2 models are from Blackstone Fortress. Okay, I did not know that. Thank you. Cool. We're gonna move on to something that was already mentioned in the chat here. This is the next Warhammer Underworlds warband, Savage Aurochs. Let's see. That guy, I don't want to come off as cynical, but I feel like a lot of the board games were put together to sell lagging inventory. You know what? Honestly, you're not wrong at all. My other thought is that, if they have monetarily demonstrated that using their old inventory in that way does lead to more gamers coming in, more power to them. That's all I got. You know, I mean, I'm assuming they've done it a few years now where they have different box sets that just show up like a flash in the pan. And you know what? If that gets people hooked and they have some kind of data for it, let it ride. Just keep doing it. That's what Doug says. AT says, I hate his pose. Oh, I love his pose. Oh, he's just like big and bad, and he's just like, come get some. I love it. So yes, this is the one model we've seen. I kind of like the thing that they're doing with Underworlds warbands, because one, without a doubt, these are always the best sculpts of Games Workshop produces, in my opinion. They're always so dynamic, very representative of their faction. It's a perfect way to like reinvent some of those classic fantasy things. We're looking at this guy, and like, I just think that's a power pose if I've ever seen one. I love him. Let's see. We're gonna scroll down here, and I did pick up some of his cards here to show. Score this in an end phase if a surviving fighter has a higher wounds characteristic than each other surviving fighter. That's cool. So you get points just for like having your biggest, meanest dude. I love GW's newer proportions for orcs. That's a good point. That's a good point. Let's see. We've got stab, stab, stab. Surge, hybrid. See, this is how long I've been out of Underworlds, is that I don't know what hybrid means. Let's see. Or surge, for that matter, now that I think about it. Hey, Coach is in the chat. What's up, buddy? Reaction. Play this after a friendly hunter or quarry successful range. Interesting. So one of the things I really do like about Underworlds recently, and the reason I've had more and more interest in it, is I feel like each of the factions is becoming far more flavorful by having their own rules. Like, we know the vampire ones, the Soulblight Warband is going to have a hunger mechanic, where if they don't eat enough, then they start to get worse at things. But then I'm looking at this, and it's like, they're hunting stuff, like actively hunting things based on the hunter and quarry thing. I don't know, I just think it's so rad. And then there is a slight preview for the next person in the box. I'm just going to go ahead and say I believe it's a Wargog Prophet. I think they want to get rid of that old resin sculpt. I would not be surprised if he's holding this way up in the air, and these are the random, feathers and stuff in his headdress. So I think it's so cool. Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious how many orcs it'll be, because right now with Bone Splitters, I should say, they're just a horde army through and through. Like, there's not even like a unit like the Brutes where it's just 5 dudes. So I wonder if they're going to take that aspect and they're going to be an orc army that has more guys, but they die to a stiff breeze. I'm not quite sure. Let's see. Corey says Hunter and Quarry was introduced in Beastgrave, and a lot of those warbands also have hunter-hunted themes. Oh, okay. Okay. That's rad. Thank you. I like Underworlds because they tend to basically be discount character models. Exactly. Yes, yes, yes. Don't you think that there's a need to review the Night Vault and Shade Spire warbands with new abilities? Are you asking me to review them, or are you asking like Games Workshop to like stop what they're doing and go backward and kind of like re-tinker old stuff? Because like, I'll be honest, I can't, simply because I don't know Underworlds enough, like the card combinations and that kind of stuff. GW, yeah, probably. I mean, well, that's the thing. Why would they review it? You can't even get the stuff anymore, hardly. They're so hard to get. I don't know. Part of me wishes they should just like release models. Like, this warband comes out in a box, period. Also, for $2 extra you get a set of cards, right? Like, we don't need people who just love the models dumping cards in the trash, and then people who come to the game and like, I want to play Warhammer Underworlds. All of a sudden they can't find these card decks anymore with like faction specific ones. So it's just, I don't know. But yes, I agree. There should be some support for the old stuff, because quite frankly, I mean, those models still hold up. They're so great, like even the initial Stormcast warband looks so freaking cool. I don't know why, but I'm appreciating the music. Oh, it's just my same calm playlist I put on. And here we have my main event. Now, this is the one where I tried going live. Oh ho ho, AT, you ask an insightful question, my friend. We'll get to that in a second. So, I wanted to talk about this yesterday, but my computer freaked out on me. I am so excited for Warhammer Quest. I cannot tell you enough. I don't know if they're sending me anything. I do not care. I'm gonna buy it. It's amazing. So Cursed City, we get our first bit of artwork, and this, I love it. I love the way that the artist made their heads tilt slightly to the side, and everything in the picture is at an angle. I just like it. Everything looks creepy and dark. There's no detail. I don't know. And then we scroll down and we see this guy. He is... No, that's not his name. Where is it at? Soulblight Curse? Okay. Hoping to receive the quote-unquote gift of the Soulblight Curse, Alexander Halgrim joined the traitorous purge of Ulfenkarn's nobility. This did not go down well with his fellow officers, but who bound him hand and foot and threw him in a sewer pit to be eaten by corpse rats. His skeleton was then raised as a death rattle officer to lead the Ulfen Watch, although he is now little more than a rotting automaton. So, holy smokes. Okay. So here's the thing I love about Cursed City that has nothing to do with models, okay? They've given us a map of the city, some images of what the regal forms, and I'll pull this up here in a second, the regal forms of what all these people were, and we're kind of understanding that they made a bargain with Soulblight vampires, I'm assuming to stay safe or immortal or whatever, and that became this burden and curse. And so we're looking at what happens when a society rots from the inside out, right? And I just think that is the coolest thing ever. You get stories like this where we have a soldier who was like, I'm in favor of the vampires and I hope that they make me one. And all the humans were like, you're a frickin' idiot. And they bound him and chucked him in the gutter. And from that, like, he can no longer achieve his goal of becoming a Soulblight, but it essentially caused a civil war, but also a vampire invasion at the same time. It's this weird thing where it's like you have humans dividing over who should be in charge, how are we going to survive, and I love it. So I really do hope they lean more into that kind of background drama between... I want to learn everything there is to learn about Ulfenkarn. So we're going to scroll down here. So, sorry, I should clarify. This is a hero. And we're going to scroll down. And here are what seems like pretty standard skeleton guys. Meaning they're not named characters or anything. Which I love these models. To control the city, a size of Ulfenkarn, an army is required. With no time to place ads in the local newspaper, Gorslav the Gravekeeper, who's the first guy we saw, emptied the corpse gardens and crypt tunnels. Soon an army of fleshless soldiers were dispensing brutal justice on the streets from their stronghold. So that's super rad. It's like, we need more police. Raise the dead! I'm trying to decide, because I'm kind of with is it Dsar in the chat. There's just like, I'm really hoping to see zombies that are just as good. My thing is like, I love these models, but I wasn't looking for skeletons. I'm looking for zombies. That's my personal opinion, but these are absolutely outstanding models. Love them. I love the sense of motion you get from their clothing, the way the armor hangs, the way the bone shows through. It's just, it all looks super stellar. Let's see. We'll be taking another look at some models from Warhammer Quest Cursed City next week. In the meantime, make sure you visit the website. Don't mind if I do. Let's see. Where is it at? Okay, so now we've got some profiles on all the different characters, but this is the part I was talking about where I feel like this over here on the far left is our captain guy that we just got introduced to. And over here on the right is the grave guy that we already know about. And let's see. Yeah, and so this is the Varngate, which is where essentially where all of the skeleton hordes congregate. a 10-man unit of skeletons like that would be incredible. Absolutely. And what I would love to see, I would love to see a death army that isn't just horde, right? Like if they created like a 10-man unit that can go up to 20 maybe, but they're actually good at combat and have armor and stuff, I would appreciate that so much more than like take this 40-man block. And I'm curious to see, based on our images that we have, what this guy's going to be. I'm thinking some kind of mage with a skeleton cat, which I'm just in. And then this guy over here, definitely vampire-y. But yeah, I'm so fascinated by this. So that's all I had for the news, like new Graveguard, essentially. But I want that to be like their main troop, right? No big blocks. 10-man unit that can go to 20 is your basic troop, and then there's a 5-man unit that can go to 10, kind of a thing. I love the devil lock on red. Devil lock on red. I don't think I quite catch that one. But yeah, so I think, oh man, so good. So good. Now my next question is, oh yeah, the hairstyle. My next question is like, how do they relate to Nagash? Like, does Nagash see some reason to control this city or whatever? I don't know. I'm here for all of it. Just take my money. And, as far as AT's question, let's see. Let me show you what I've been working on. Give me one hot second. And while I'm searching for this, I want you all to throw in the chat, what have you been working on? Yeah, we'd like to learn. I started up doing the viewer submissions for cool models and that kind of stuff that people have painted up online. So if you want to have your stuff shown on my social medias and junk, head over to on Twitter, and I have it on Facebook as well. You can just tag me in some stuff and I will show it for everybody. So let's see. Here we are. So I was inspired. I went through this last week about how I found a whole bunch of old White Dwarf magazines. And I decided that my next painting project, I want to update one of these. Basically, this is a Phil Kelly, because he was back at GW this far back anyway. So a Phil Kelly Army of Skaven, where he's got, I'll let you read the list here. But essentially this comes out to roughly like 1,200 points of an army list, or it's more than that. But I'm going to take this, I'm going to make it with new models, updated models, and give it a cool little revision for everything. And then I'm keeping the Goblin green bases because that's super important for the time, as was the style of the time. So that is my plan. So I've already got some stuff coming. I've got, here is a box of, what are they called? Rat ogres and the giant rats. Some of them, because I can't quite find them online anymore, I have to kind of sub in. So I might put a couple of the giant rat things on mega bases and just have that be rat swarms. But yeah, everything else like the Doom Wheel, the rat ogres, that kind of stuff. So yeah, am I doing squares? No, I'm gonna pass on the squares. I still want it to be like playable wherever I go, and I just, quite frankly, I just like the way rounds look more. But yeah, let's see. Square round basing. Oh, sorry. Yeah, just doing rounds. I still want it to be legal and playable, but I'm excited about it. So this is what's going on now. I've said before that painting Skaven broke my soul a little bit. However, I think going in with a plan like this is going to be much more rewarding and focused for me, as opposed to where I got kind of mixed up last time was when basically I tried making the switch from, was it Pestilence to the General Skaven, where basically what happened was I got caught in a weird position where I had a ton of models, but none of the battle line worked because of the way the the battle tome works. So it was a weird thing, but this is a cool little sampling of everything. We got a gray seer in there somewhere. I'm actually gonna do a gray seer on a bell. So we're gonna assume in the what, 19 years since this issue or something, he's had a chance to upgrade. So Solnar will have a bell, and then there's enough room in the list for me to add a few things just to kind of make what's already here better. You know, like a packmaster for the rat ogres and the rats, and an engineer or something like that. So yeah. Let's see. Got a question here. Sounds exciting. You still working on the Chaos dudes? Yeah, I mean, I still have them. The Chaos project was just to have a set of leaders. Now that I can use my Warcry warbands as battle line, so that project is actually done. I have all the leaders I need. I got a war shrine. I got that kind of stuff, and then all the rest of the troops are just a couple of knights and Warcry warbands. So yep, that one's actually good, and I have no intention of getting rid of that. By the way, question: if I want to play Grand Alliance, do I need a specific battle tome? No, the information for playing a Grand Alliance, I believe, is in the core book. If I'm not mistaken, someone correct me. Let's see. If you go squares, there are STLs that you can drop. Yeah, I've seen those recently. So anyway, so I got that, and then I did grab, because there's a local gaming scene in a very safe and health conscious store that I appreciate, doing 40k stuff. So I went and grabbed some Chaos Space Marines because I do like them, and that's all there is to it. These are all the new sculpts. I had a Chaos Space Marine army before, but it was all the old stuff. And I might redo my Iron Warriors. I had my Iron Warriors. I enjoyed them, but once we saw the new Chaos Space Marines, I was just like, oh, I don't want to touch these models, the old ones. So anyway, let's see. Hope this isn't too off topic. What kind of things would you like to see in the future for Iron Jaws? Besides brutes and Gorgruntas, the faction seems pretty bare bones. I'd like to see... Man, I like the weird stuff in Warhammer, if I'm honest with you. Let's go over here. Here we go. I like the weird stuff where it's like, give me a catapult that throws Ardboys. Sold. That's all I need. Give me, what else would I want? Maybe just different kinds of weapon wielders. I don't know, because yeah, I agree. They're pretty bare bones. Let's see. I'm about to start on my custom mini to go with my custom hero, Anvil Apotheosis for Fire Slayers. Nice. That's so cool. Bring back the Doom Diver. Yep. Question: have you played more Soulbound lately? Plan to run Crash and Burn? I actually lost my voice like Monday and Tuesday, and so I just decided to skip my role-playing game night group because I'm a total douche and Biofoot is too good for this world and too patient for me. But now that I have it back, I do plan. So Tuesdays is typically when I do that. I haven't played the Crash and Burn one, but that's really cool because it's a cool little... Oh, can you post my completed Slaves to Darkness? Yeah, I can do that. I'll get a picture for you. Let's see. Yeah. Man. Okay, sweet. Well, that's all I had for you today. If you were hoping to catch the lore contest winners and that kind of thing, go back to the start of the video. I'm actually going to wrap it up here today because I am going to be doing more recording. This was part me wanting to announce the winners and part testing to make sure that my streaming stuff is working again, and it seems to be. So let me know in the comments down below if you have any problems watching it later. But congratulations to all our winners. Go ahead and reach out to me. Yeah, we'll hang out in the future. So friends, again, this is a really short one, but thank you so much for hanging out with me regardless, and I will catch you next time. Happy wargaming.